area, which is one of the reasons why we started Space, is trying to get people together and become a hub for people to collaborate. And John and I were perfect examples. I mean, we are working on so many projects together. But it's for a town this size, I mean, there's so many economic development organizations. There's so many various groups doing different things. But we've got like 10 fiddle festivals. I mean, it's really unbelievable. We've got more film festivals in LA.
We're fragmented at so many levels. I've got
everyone's doing lots of great things, and there are. It goes back to workforce. We've got the workforce here. We've got a very educated, ambitious, motivated group of people, except on Fridays. But, that's our pitch. That's our trademark.
Well,
4-day work week.
Well, our pitch in Raleigh, our pitch when we were in our pitch in Durham and Raleigh was, you could have Friday, Monday hours in Wilmington, and their eyes lit up. I'm like, yeah, I could have Friday and Monday hours in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Well, the key is you sign a lease and get a space and expand your business. So.
Yes.
Maybe just to digest that, if it's not about the car analogy. It's not using technology self-consciously. It's just does it become people's habits. If you mix that with, I think what you're saying, Robert, which is people aren't using this technology. Why aren't they? Well, it's not about the technology. It's that things are fragmented here anyway. So all of people's habits, all of people's activities are fragmented. Our economic development activities are stratified and going different directions. Also technologically, you build a community technologically. It's not that technology is especially fragmented. It's that too is fragmented. Our baseball teams are fragmented. Our baseball divisions, our summer camps are wildly fragmented. So is technology. I'm just hearing what you guys are saying. It's not the technology, except perhaps this idea of infrastructure. And actually, I wonder about that. Whether there's an analog with the film incentives. You guys are talking an awful lot about how to make people, how to enable that. Like we try to enable film here in some very, very serious ways. I mean, we get very serious about giving money. And you're saying we leave money on the table, businesses walk away because they don't have the infrastructure, which I guess just means download and upload time, right? I mean, what's technological infrastructure beyond that? If everything's in the cloud, you're just talking about uploads and downloads, right? That's it.
You're still talking about the infrastructure that's going to be able to allow you to send the information back and forth.
Yes, but if it's Basecamp and these services that are widely available, and Amazon, AWS stuff, it's just about speed, right?
It's less what we're talking about, and that upload speed.
Right. It's not co-location and servers anymore. It's purely because your servers can be anywhere.
Right.
Good question.
I got something to add. The city I grew up in, Wilson, actually developed its own infrastructure, and they called it Green Line. And it was cheaper than Roadrunner, and it was faster, much faster. And then the telecommunication companies lobbied North Carolina to pass a bill which says that cities cannot develop their own infrastructure anymore. So, and it was the first bill of its kind that happened in North Carolina. And so we, as a city, can't actually develop our own infrastructure. We're dependent upon major telecommunication companies to.
So you had a major telco lobbying on behalf of their own self-interest, which ended up hurting a region's economic development, which doesn't make sense. And at the same time, you went back to, you said, well, the $300,000 that he spent on IBM 10 years ago, where's that going? And I'm sorry, it's not to say, but America, 75% of America's employed by small business, right? So it's not the IBMs of the world we're trying to preserve here. It's the entrepreneurs and that American spirit. That's what makes this country so great. Is the entrepreneurs. I mean, IBM was once a startup, right? And so that $300,000 will that could spawn 10 new startups. Maybe that worked around 10 years ago. So yeah, some guys are not making it while they're paying, but it has helped spawn a lot more innovation, a lot more startups, and create a job growth.
Some guy, a server administrator is not paying for his Maserati, but the guy who says, I'm going to do a better job of selling broccoli with an e-commerce site is, he's buying a new, maybe a Honda.
back to this notion that, so you, both the technology as car, right? So that kind of barrier to entry, if you have to think about the technology, it becomes a barrier to entry or a barrier to use. And I want to come back to the question of the infrastructure and the example of the Apple TV, right? If you see it spinning, if you see it thinking, you have to think about the technology.
Yeah.
And so
Why is that happening?
why is that? If I just turn on the TV normally, right, it's instantly there.
And every once in a while in the car, you have to think about that. You break down on the side of the road, you go, why?
Right.
And you don't really want to
And
think
I don't
about
really
that.
want
You
to
just
think
want to
about that
drive.
at all. Right. And so, I think not only can you think of the infrastructure capacity to support the businesses leaving on to, but it also does have an impact on the residential community as users because it can influence that as well. Again, spinning out. Yeah, screw it.
And I think too, I mean, this is another example, at home, are we gonna, this is just, are we gonna watch Netflix or are we gonna watch Hulu? Netflix, however temperamental your connection is, Netflix is like caching, whatever it is bulletproof. I mean, they are not gonna drop you. Like if you click that play button, it is on, and that's not about, we could talk about what that technology is, but if you go to Hulu, you start doing something, you just go, I'm never going back there. And in fact, now I'm completely I'm going to watch Netflix. And it's not a technological decision. And I think that's just a great point. They got it right. They probably spent a ton of money to make sure that no sort of naive user or early user in the world would ever have a drop signal. And it seemed to have paid off. They're going like gangbusters. And Hulu is too, but that really, really matters.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be on all fours, the TV and plug in, just to watch it.
It could be like me and my kids just break the remote and they drive and think I'm upset.
You could unplug your computer and Netflix is just still going. It's like fire.
It's like Zoltar. It's like Zoltar. It's still going.
For those of us who like to find solutions to problems, bandwidth has been an issue forever. I had it in Washington, D.C. I remember it very well 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and we always added more and more bandwidth, and eventually, we got to where we needed to go. If it's agreed among this group that bandwidth is a significant problem, and you can't do it at the city level, then we ought to figure out, okay, well, how can we do it, and let's get it done. How do you get that done?
You leverage your big players in the market. You've got 1,500 employees sitting down there with Dell laptops on Front Street, and I think you get guys like Corning and GE to leverage the telecom industry. I guess it's either or the legislature. They have to leverage the big players who are spending a lot of money on data, access to data.
The fiber, there's probably not dark fiber underground coming to Wilmington, or
Coming to Wilmington, yes.
Yes. So there's lots of fiber. Back in the 90s, the telco companies went crazy. That's fiber, but the vast majority is not being used. It's called dark fiber, so it's there.
Yeah, it's not an issue of
It's
getting
not.
it to Wilmington, it's an issue of getting it out
It's
to
true.
business.
This is a business issue, really. It's not a technology issue. It's a business and political issue.
It comes to where 40 lives and you got to get it out.
Right.
Okay, so we need it downtown for all you guys.
So, yeah,
So-
I mean, that would be a great
So let's
benefit
do it.
for downtown. If you said, not only can you have your business here, but also a benefit of downtown is that you can get a gigabit connection to the internet where you can't get that.
When I talk to my friends back in Silicon Valley, the first question is ocean water temperature, and the second one is bandwidth. That's the second question.
We've got a good story on that water temperature thing.
Yeah, we're doing great on water temperature, but it's always the second question. So you imagine so many businesses we lost to Raleigh or Charleston.
There's wireless. I mean, this is a small area, relatively speaking.
Well,
It wouldn't be that hard to do.
There's a business opportunity.
I was going to say, to Zill's point, there are precedents for the municipal Wi-Fi stuff. It's kind of a public-private thing that I think, I can't think of where, but communities. Yeah, and it's that's a commercial thing, right? It's a business that does that.
It could be cooperative, it could be joint venture, there are a number of ways to go, and maybe.
I mean, the whites, all the white space is sort of up in the air, how that's going to be used. And how that's going to be
There are a lot of solutions, and interestingly, it's the only issue that's sort of been raised that keeps us from doing something really interesting, too, you were talking about, which is basically creating an entrepreneur factory, where all the guy needs is a good idea, and you can direct him to all the software to put that together with a good idea. And it kind of advances what we've thought of as a cooperative kind of effort. Or your place, Robert, as it functions to support entrepreneurs. And you don't need all those smart guys standing around who are experts in this and that, because it's basically
But
all.
Vaughn is a great example of that.
Yeah.
But let's
Bill,
let's push on that a little bit. I mean, one thing that's been said here tonight is, I can be in Wilmington, and all these people I collaborate with can base camp over in San Francisco. That's one way to think of it. And then this other thing is, another statement is, gosh, it would be great if Doug and Jonathan were in the same building together. How much does that matter? I mean, we're saying two different things. And that's a conversation about technology. And at IBM, boy, IBM spends a lot of money trying to get us as close to one another, even though we work in just totally different countries and different places. And my own sense about that is that the cost that a giant organization bears in having people not very good at communicating, even though they're chatting and doing video conferences, is enormous. It's just enormous. You got to have people in the same room, around the proverbial water cooler, else it just doesn't go.
You do. I mean, John and I bump into each other every single day, whether we like it or not. But every time,
Sometimes it's digital.
but every time there's a comment, there's an idea, there's something that just wouldn't happen. Front Street is our proverbial water.
Yeah, well, and I think the ecosystem has an evolutionary life. And I think the ecosystem has to start with putting all these entrepreneurial support systems under one roof, where when you show up, your question can get answered. The ecosystem will evolve into something where we have, DigiEffects, so we have a Taylor Gray, and we have, Waverider Technologies, all in the same hallway, where these guys are doing this collaboration and creativity instantaneously sparking.
Remember, Wilmington is two cities. That's part of the problem. We've got the beach,
Well,
and we've got downtown, so we have this problem that most people don't have.
Well, we're descendants of pirates, and we would just let slit each other's throats. So, see my enemy and he's me.
Right.
So,
We have two competing areas, because you've got a lot of businesses, there's a new co-working space out there. We've really got two areas. Some people prefer to be out there, some people prefer to be here. So we are unique in that these two areas are competing.
all the time, because, I think that, because it's a great area, and it would be a good hub, but a lot of people like, I live out that way, and I have to commute in every day, and there's not a very good transportation system to.
it's not really a commute. Sure.
It's not.
I actually have 5 minutes, so it is. It's a pain, right? You come down, you live out by the beach, you live at the beach, if there was a similar way down here. Like you said, I mean, I remember one week I heard 3 different co-working facilities going out in different places. So,
People that live in Wilmington are very territorial. Most of us are transplants. Most of us don't want to travel more than 5 minutes away from our home to do anything. I grew up in Oklahoma City. My commute to work was 45 minutes one way. I mean, so for me to go more than 15 minutes any place in town, I'm like, I don't want to go there. That's just what the people that have come to Wilmington, that's what we try to get away from.
And then we bear that cost in fragmentation.
Right.
we have the same, when people we do business with in town come back, from landfall or wherever, it's fine. I haven't been down here in forever. Where do I park?
Yeah.
So
It's scary.
That's an app that I discussed with John not very long ago. CFCC has the application in their garages where they can track